Welcome to Mind Matters, the podcast that delves into the world of psychology and memory. Today, we're exploring a groundbreaking memory experiment conducted in the 1880s by Hermann Ebbinghaus, the concepts that he explored, the challenges that his experiments raised, and his main contribution to psychology. So, who is Hermann Ebbinghaus?
Hermann Ebbinghaus was a German psychologist who, as you mentioned, pioneered in the field of memory experimentation. Even more, he came up with 2,300 sets of three-letter syllables that help him memorize details in a systematic manner. His scientific study of memory started when he published his book, Memory: A Contribution to Experimental Psychology. According to that, in order to measure his memory recall in one of his experiments, he put himself to the test and memorized meaningless syllables with varied letter combinations. In this experiment, he disregarded the traditional technique of memorization in order to demonstrate if the experiment's use of nonsense syllable was effective. Based on his personal accounts, even though it's just a simple method with logical procedures, he found that using nonsense syllables actually aided his systematic memorization. But of course, just like any other experiment, it received some criticism.
So first off, Ebbinghaus is an expert in this field who took the risky role of both the experimenter and the subject himself, raising concerns about the limited sample size, or in other words, the self-experimentation. So using himself as the only participant, these questions arise about the generalizability of his findings to many people. And individual differences, after all, can play a significant role in memory, and relying on a single subject might limit the external validity of the study.
That's true. It's very possible that a lot of other factors like the quality of sleep that he had the night before or the stress and the pressure that he was under during the process could affect the findings of his study.
But that's not at all, because Ebbinghaus also faced criticism for sacrificing ecological validity in his experiments as well, in an era when psychology was attempting to be acknowledged as a natural science. He justified it himself that his controlled laboratory conditions by comparing them to the physicist's abstract work. So, however, this raises questions regarding the practicality of his conclusion. That, like, can we fully understand how complicated memory is by examining lists of his experiment, like the nonsensical syllables in a controlled setting?
Yes, there are a lot of aspects that should be considered in an experiment like this. However, it's undeniable that this experiment of his helped propel and encourage more studies about memory and learning as a whole. With the help of the people who challenged his ideas, he sought to find more ways to prove that psychology and cognitive processes can be analyzed through a scientific approach. His ideas stood the test of time, even though back then it was novel and unheard of, because most people thought that mental processes were something that was inaccessible to us. His observations and experiments about the forgetting curve and learning curve gave emphasis on how our brains can store memories, especially through the help of repetition and spacing, which has been immensely beneficial for educators and researchers since then.
Ebbinghaus' memory experiments in the 1880s hold immense relevance to our understanding of memory and learning even today. His work laid in the foundation for modern memory research and provided insights into how we encode, store, and retrieve information. Some of his discoveries that is still relevant and highly utilized to this day are, again, the forgetting curve, the establishment of qualitative methods, the serial position effect, and the study of memory without meaning. Ebbinghaus' work has had found profound impact on various fields including education, psychology, and neuroscience. His insights into memory have guided the development of effective learning strategies, informed the design of educational materials, and contributed to our understanding of the brain's memory systems. His legacies continues to inspire researchers and educators, shaping our understanding of how we are learn and remember.